Hey everyone, welcome to our top 15 selections for Photographer of the Year. If you made the top 15, congratulations, well done. We had overall so many great entries this year compared to the first year of the contest, and it's amazing to see the level of work go up, the level of variety, and so we thank you so much for entering. Again, these critiques are all about learning and growing and trying to get better. If you made the top 15, you're awesome. You did great, and be proud of that. Hopefully what the judges talk about will be something that can help you and everybody else grow in their photography. So without further ado, here you go. All right, so we will kick off the top 15 photographers of the year. I will go to the first one here. All right, so this is our first photographer who I don't know anybody. I don't know any names. Linda, everybody's
Good
anonymous. You throw something at the camera. I do like some of the compositions in this. We already looked at this photo with photo of the year, not this photo, but this spot.
Yeah.
And this image in particular is one that really stuck out at me because of the lightning bolt in I forget what these are called, Dennis. You know what the structure is called in Kansas, but the colors and this lightning strike that's pretty awesome. Like, to kind of just go there and have this composition and pray for something like good, and then you've got a lightning strike back there with the color. That was one that really stood out to me. This is from the same spot, and I think this one also, because I love big towering lightning strikes with structure, and that was really good. But I think the editing is pretty decent overall. Maybe some areas where it's a little maybe like bright and a little greenish on this one. But overall, like, really nice, subtle kind of editing, not overdone, and some beautiful shots.
Yeah, I think the shot that I like best out of this portfolio is number 10, the one with the little windmills in it.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Oh, I don't even think I really saw the lightning bolt back there. Wonder if that's part of it. This top looks like it goes down.
Horizon, is it straight? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it looks pretty straight. Yeah. No, it's nice. It's a great image. I love. It's very it's actually surreal because either the windmills were stopped or it did this at such a the photographer did this at such a fast shutter speed that they didn't move. Which is kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. This one looks like it's bending, maybe, or maybe they're just heavy. But yeah, that's a great image.
They have a little bit of natural curve to them.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one's real. The color on this one too is real nice.
Compositionally, this is the strongest shot, I think, in that.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I am just a photographer that I tend to go for minimalism and nothing in my foregrounds. If I can find them and they're great, then I'm going to use them. But for the most part, I'm always looking for up high minimalism. And so these kind of shots to me look are just wonderful. And there's some good structure in there. And
I just try to think about, like, what is it that you're trying to show in the image? If you're not trying to show houses and people doing whatever, then don't include it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I feel. Storm photography is about the storm. I mean, sometimes it can get a little boring if it's nothing in the foreground, but to me, this is what I'm out there for, is nothing but peace, like me watching a storm, and I don't want anything blocking my view of it. So I don't want necessarily things, but like you said, this is like the image you really liked. This serves it well. It's
absolutely. But it's all about, what you're trying to tell in the story. And I think especially if you have a small portfolio of images that you're trying to submit to a contest, you want to make sure that they have a cohesive story. And of course, storms have many different stories to tell. You can absolutely focus on how, people are in storms, how firehouses are in storms, if that's your thing. There's all kinds of different angles, of course, to do that. But you need to show some cohesiveness in your portfolio.
Exactly. Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, but I think I like the way with the wind farm or the minimalistic horizontal line, which we discussed earlier. I think it's important also to show where the storms happened. and that's the view of the Great Plains. So
Yep.
I like that these elements are in the shots as well, in different ways. So I don't mind a great foreground. So we discussed it earlier with other shots. If you have a strong, very great foreground, you should put it into the shot. So, but we know this in the plains. Getting a great foreground is very difficult to find there. So yeah, so show it also. Yeah, maybe you shot it like the one with the bolt in the middle of the frame, number 5.
Number 5, this one. Yep.
Number 5, this one. Yes, it's for me the perfect view of the plains, because it's the real world. In most cases, there is nothing like open space.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if you show the storm and you have great structure like in this one, yeah, so get rid of most of the foreground, because everything you need to see is there. So yeah.
And this one is just spectacular in the way that you've got the filaments coming out the top, so there's just kind of lightning everywhere, and there's even a little bit of a glow at the bottom. I don't know if it's like where it's hitting on a hill or if it's just the rain, but yeah, that's really, really pretty.
Yeah, maybe there was a power line or so on the horizon, very small. Maybe this one.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful work. We will go to the next one, and I'll let you guys talk about it. I just quickly, I mean, nice variety, good color. Maybe Linda will say some saturation issues, but a good variety, good year.
Absolutely amazing captures. My favorite, number 4.
Yeah,
I just think the look of this storm, and just I can imagine standing there just getting blasted with that sand in your face while you're trying to compose a shot. So
actually, in this place, it would be hitting you in the back of the head because it's sucking it up like a vacuum, and it's
yeah.
And your long hair, you would be in the shower picking bits of sand.
I usually tie it up real tight and have a hat over the top.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're smart.
Yeah, it's a great shot. I mean, all of these shots are pretty darn good. I feel like that first shot, maybe compositionally speaking, is a little weaker than the rest of the portfolio, but just amazing moments to witness. Can we just reflect on that? Like, how many times you just roll up on a quick little tornado? Just pretty amazing. Yeah, that's the one from earlier. This is also a really nice shot. I do think sometimes with the saturation and stuff could be a little bit.
I don't know with the saturation. I got a sunset years ago. I think it was 2015, and it looked like almost the same. The colors were crazy. It was the most intense orange tones I ever had.
Yeah.
I think it was near Amarillo this time, and it was absolutely crazy. And I don't know, but in real life it was almost the same.
I've seen that too. Sometimes you got to dial it back. Like,
I know for a fact this is what it looked like. So it was sometimes when you're out there, it's just the way it is, and it's like it's insane. So and the fact is, this portfolio, you could look at it and go, well, maybe there's some saturation issues, but I think it's more of there's just a big diversity of different kinds of shots with different colors, or at least there's some pretty strong oranges and then lots of maybe kind of the bluish ones, but in a black and white as well. So maybe because they're so different that they kind of look like it's really different kinds of or too much saturation because of that kind of contrast between different images. But yeah, I mean, we talked about some of these images already, and but just really great moments and scenes, and good year for that person.
You're the worst.
All right, we'll go over to the next one. Another great year. I mean, this person saw a bunch of different storms. I mean, some great lightning, different perspectives, really nice compositions. Obviously works hard at trying to get things in the foreground. You know, this is an example of, I mean, this almost, when I'm looking at this one right now, it almost feels like a movie set or something. Like the foreground and the house they feel soft and almost separated from the back. I don't know if that's the editing or that's just the way it was, but it's like a perfect foreground, and the house is just nicely set over there. They obviously use, you know, this is where you use the foreground, get really low. Looks like that was the house in that panorama that we saw. So must be obviously the same photographer. And this shot was obviously great, and just another use of foreground stuff. And I kind of like the way this person uses these foreground objects and houses and stuff, or these old abandoned places, more as part of the setting and not necessarily like really close or whatever, but kind of just putting there part of the scene, which is really, really wonderful. And they have the, this is basically, it must have either been with this person who shot that one we were talking about in photo of the year.
That's right. That's right.
But this is really nice. It's got that same stand of trees, but less foreground, you know? And so now it puts that perspective more on the storm and, or the focus on the storm, and the trees just add some scale.
And the red dots of the cities also are gone in this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he is a bit more to the left, like the other shot. And this one is, this one's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful shot. Here's one though where I would think the like 16:9 crop or something might have helped. Like I feel like the foreground here, maybe part of this is unnecessary. It feels to me like I would want to tug this corner up and to the left a little bit, but I also can understand not wanting to lose this part of the anvil. So then to me, like maybe a 16:9 crop. So maybe crop it around here or something. But this is just,
you know
beautiful.
what? Is this the exact same storm as we saw earlier that was a bit orangey that we talked about?
Yes,
for a bit?
It is.
Yeah, I recognize also the little yaknika in the foreground there. What do you call these things? The oil.
Oh yeah, and they may have just sat here while the color disappeared, and yeah, you're right. Oh, this oil well thing. Yeah. Yep. This is obviously one of the cooler shots with the tornado underneath. I mean, it's a very, very subtle, like, hey, there's a tornado there, but the foreground is like nicely balanced. Like I actually like this much of the foreground, and because the tornado's so small, I feel like I'm just seeing like a big landscape, and then oh, there's a tornado there, which is wonderful. This one seems really tastefully done and great perspective on it.
Yeah, what I like about this portfolio is that this photographer is really not just to photograph the storm. They are putting some thought into their foreground. And I know how difficult it can be. You know, sometimes you're shooting out a window or whatever. So to really pull off some images that have this serenity to it, when we know very well how chaotic it is there in the moment, it takes a little bit of foresight and a little bit of planning. And then coming through with that in the edit to kind of highlight this and to have this dreamy like quality to it. Yeah. This is one of my favorite images in this particular portfolio. So I think it's really nice to see amazing photos of storms and tornadoes, and they're all nuts and absolutely amazing. But to then go a step beyond and to think about what you're doing with the edit and to think about what you're doing when you're composing these shots, I think puts you a little bit ahead of most of the pack.
Yes, I agree. And the fact that this person, I can't, is that cotton or is that something else? That's cotton, right?
I think it looks like cotton to me.
Yeah.
I think so.
These are the kind of things that even when I see something like this is kind of probably one of my favorite images in this too, is that I need to work harder at foregrounds and stuff like this, because I don't necessarily feel like I don't freaking see cotton fields in front of supercells very much. And so I'm really curious where this was and how this person found it. But a couple of these, at the end, like that one and this one, these are just inspirational to try to get better at trying to find, better compositions with storms, and not just always like I do is focus on minimalistic, maybe try to get up high kind of stuff, which I like a lot, and that's just me. And we all have our own styles, and so we end up gravitating towards that. But when you see something like this, you're like, man, this is really beautiful.
Absolutely.
But you know how hard it is to find those spots, or these spots, to get a cool foreground element into it. So it's not that easy. And he managed it. The photographer managed it very well in this case. If you see the whole set together, he has some great varieties in it. So every shot, it's not just a storm and shoot. So he tried to get some different stuff together, and I like the collection.
Yep. Great.
Well, I think one thing that should be added is that sometimes it may take a handful of years or more to really, if you keep going out to the plains, you'll keep passing similar towns and areas, and you'll start developing a sense for, hey, if there's a storm that comes over this would be one place where I could go, or, and I think that kind of library builds up in your head over time. So I don't want people to feel discouraged when they first start chasing by not knowing where to be and being in the wrong place at the right time, or in the right place at the wrong time, or because, but also this is this person's highlight reel, of course. They have many photos that are nowhere near this good, I imagine, just like the rest of us. But this is quite a wonderful portfolio overall.
But this is just from 1 year, and that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and to get these kind of things, you have to more than likely be a person who gets to chase a lot, because it's not easy. It's not easy to go out for 7 days and get something like this. You've got to be out for like 2 months and chase like 25, 30 days.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. All right. We'll go to the next one. Some nice variety on this portfolio as well. We already talked about that shot earlier. This is that same storm. It looks like the Sudan one. A little, there's some grain and issues here. I can, I think I talked earlier about how like sometimes the noise I don't mind, but this one looks a little bit like it was brought up enough that I can see some vertical lines, which probably means like sensor kind of noise, which is not always ideal. These are hard shots to take because you want to bump your ISO up. So like this is really nice and crisp, and I don't know if it was a short exposure or what, but if you bring your ISO up too much, you could blow out the lightning. And if it's too dark, then you get the noise by trying to bring up the exposure. They're always kind of tough.
Luckily at night, you can get pretty long exposure shots with a lightning bolt, and where it's so dark that the lightning bolt will freeze everything, even though you're doing kind of a longer exposure, as long as it's just a single strike. So that's the nice thing about it.
Yeah, you have to find that balance between, is it really intense? Because then you want shorter 5-second exposures, but if you go to 15, it might flash multiple times.
Exactly.
In this one, because of the stars.
Yeah.
So you have the motion in the stars if you have too long exposure. So, and I don't think it's the case in this one.
Yeah, they look pretty short.
No, it's not bad. Yeah, there are many things to think of.
Yeah, this image is of course is one of those ones where I would be, if I was there, I'd be pretty upset that all these trees are in the way of the tornado. I do see like a dust spot up here, unfortunately, but I mean, the fact that they got to see this tornado, I mean, it's freaking stunning. But I think this is one that probably would crop up a little bit, get this out of the way, maybe get that one windmill that's kind of distracting out of the way.
That sneaky guy.
Yeah, sneaky little windmill back there. Those are just like a little attention to detail kind of things. But overall, it's nice variety. They seem like they tried at like some good compositions wherever they were. Like this one is really spectacular. I love this little cloud getting lit up by these filaments and stuff, and the road just brightening up. And there's something about this part of the image that's really spectacular. And it's weird how we get snobby about lightning strikes if you start shooting them all the time, because I can see ones and they bend a certain way. I'm like, that's a wussy little lightning strike. I don't want that. But some of them are like powerful and they look strong and they're different, And,
I wonder this too. This one flashed several times, because if you look at the little clouds in the foreground, especially on the right, you can see that shadowing that you can sometimes get from the cloud.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this one's awesome as well. I just love that it's still, I think it could be a tad darker, but, seeing where the lightning bolt hits in front of that mountain with this beautiful farm field here is the light is really nice. Yeah, and a couple more nice lightning strikes, which we would all be pretty happy to have.
Yeah, and nicely edited, not like over crunchy where.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that.
Yeah, I think maybe just like I think that dust spot on this poor person's camera is in the same spot in a few of the photos and one up here, which stinks. So that's just one of those things that you got to pay attention to when you're editing before you finally export it and share. Go over it one more time.
Yeah.
And,
or phone a friend,
Or phone a friend to look at it.
Always phone a friend.
Always phone a friend. All right, so we'll move on to the next one. Dennis, what are you thinking of? What do you think of this portfolio?
Overall, in the first view, it makes me feel that I want to see more of it because it seems like a spectacular set.
Yeah.
In the first view, lots of nighttime lightning, and yeah, I like in this one, the previous one, the rain in front of. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of, obviously this person lives close to the ocean. I believe these are in Australia, so they get a lot of storms out over the water. This is
crazy. So many different things going on here.
I know, and it's one of those ones where sometimes just shooting clouds in a storm without anything else really are kind of like, sometimes I need a lightning strike, or I want something really good, and this has just got, I don't know what it is, but this area right here is just so magnificent. I just looked at this image and I looked at it again. I'm like, wow, this is just stunning.
Yeah, that's definitely their best image in this portfolio, I think.
Yeah, the texture is just wonderful.
That would have been a great image to submit separately, not as part of the portfolio. There's some other images in that portfolio that I feel are really not quite as strong, and then they're hurting this person's overall chances when I have to look at the portfolio as a whole. This particular image being the one that I see most troublesome. I don't know. There's a bit of that kind of dirtying going on. I'm not sure. The highlights are reduced a lot. I'm not sure really where to look here. But yeah, that other image with the clouds is definitely one of the best images I feel that are submitted out of all of them, really, that I've seen.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one has like the potential to be like amazing because I mean, it looks like it's probably all that this bolt comes up here and then maybe it's all connected. Or maybe there was one that hit and then there was other ones in this storm, but I feel like they're kind of cut off, and it does feel a little heavy-handed, maybe with some of the editing, like you said, a little muddy.
Yeah.
But I do like that there's like these compositions are very kind of peaceful and calm. And this one obviously was, one of those ones we all know, which is you've got the most amazing sky in the world and you don't really have anywhere to shoot it.
Right.
And you gotta do what you gotta do. I maybe would have jumped in the road as well, and I think this is the same storm, so I maybe would have tried to jump in the road or just jump this fence and run in this field or something, which I'm not condoning jumping and trespassing. I would never ever do that, but I might do that. So but overall I think that the compositions and stuff are wonderful, but maybe this one's just the editing's a little tough. And hey Dave.
Hey guys, sorry. Now I'm walking to pick up my kid from school, so it's like always something.
Can you see the images?
Oh yeah. I've got them up on my iPad. Yep.
I can hear birds. This is amazing.
Yeah. Dave is doing some remote judging, and it's just I want to hear more birds. But he's back. So, all right. So we'll move on to this portfolio. I think one thing at least for me, when I looked at this, when it first came in, was that a lot of the images on the histogram were a little bit to the left, just a little bit too dark. This one is one, the birds chirping, so cute. This one is pretty dark, and some of these areas there's really not much to see there. Some of them feel like just borderline too dark. and so I don't know, if that's a result of just style, and really wanting them dark, but I think some of them, like this one, could be brighter. This one could probably be brighter. And so I don't know if that's, a lot of this stuff might be monitor issues where someone's got a dimly lit monitor, it's not calibrated correctly. And because overall, I feel like there might be a pattern of it being just a little dark, which I feel is like slightly unfortunate because a lot of these photos are really nice. I mean, great structure and lighting, nice use of, foreground. This photo is all about the structure. There's still some, some editing issues. I see a little bit of like haloing and stuff. But really, like, this bolt is awesome. I mean, you can see where it lands, beautiful sky. So this person worked hard, I think, this year to do better or do well at compositions and getting unique stuff. So the portfolio as a whole, like the variety and everything, is great for the most part. I think this image, the composition is just a little bit off because this vehicle's on the edge of the frame and it's slanting in. And so you're almost better off just not maybe using that at all or sliding around in front of it. So, maybe you're shooting across it with the storm. But I know, I can see that this person worked hard trying to get some nice variety this year. Linda, what do you think of it?
I feel similar to you. Some of the images are a bit on the darker side. Maybe that's a personal choice. And then there are some images that feel not cohesive to the portfolio as a whole. They may be nice images on their own. It's quite difficult to compose a portfolio together that sells kind of a cohesive story that was taken in different places on different days. Yeah. I would say that the image that speaks to me the most would be the third photo. And some of the light in the other photos is also quite nice. But I think it comes a bit down to editing and maybe just picking the right images to go together. I think this can only come from practice. So I commend this person for putting this together. It's overall pretty nice portfolio. Just a little bit of tweaks in the editing, and I think that will go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agreed. For me, it's the third picture is my favorite in this set. Yep. But overall, yeah, unfortunately a bit too dark in most cases. So, but as you said, Mike, this person must have worked really hard to get so many shots this year.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and technically wise, there's a lot of, all of these look really sharp. Yeah. And technically, done well. It's just unfortunate that maybe the monitor or something is dark, or maybe again, like Linda said, maybe this was the style choice. But I think some of it needs to be a little bit brighter because I think we're missing important details. This is really dark in here and probably doesn't need to be. And this one, is just really, really dark. And then some of this, I mean, honestly, this person had a spectacular year. I mean, they saw tornadoes. They were at the Grand Canyon for this dust. They got some great lightning strikes, great structure and storms, and figuring out if there's something wrong with maybe your monitor and tweaking some of the editing where you got some of the halos and stuff. And you're right there. Like this is really, really like a wonderful, wonderful year. I'd be real happy. We'll go to this next one where we have animals. Yay. Dave, I don't know if you can hear us, but if you had any thoughts about this one,
similar to the last one, just the breadth of what they were able to capture is incredible. And like you said, anytime I saw a picture once of a lightning over a herd of cows, and the horses are just great. I'm a sucker for reflections. Love those clouds in that one. Just makes for. Just anytime that you can get twice a scene like that, it makes it so much better.
These two with the horses are just stunning. I just think this one is magical. I know it's slightly unfortunate because you've got the strong sun behind you and it's low. And so you see, shadows of probably the photographer and maybe a fence or someone else or something. But this, the way the horse looks and the light on it and the editing is just magnificent. And this is spectacular. And it's just another foreground element. It doesn't always have to be just like a house or a windmill or something. Like just these animals in front, giving you perspective on this is just wonderful. Beautiful lightning shots and very, very grainy. But, I know that this was obviously a dust storm probably in Arizona. And so without any good light after dark, you're just doing the best you can to get a shot of it. And I've had many a grainy haboob photo after dark, and there's not much you can do about it. And obviously it's a nice bolt off the coast. Linda, what about you? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I have to agree. These horse images are pretty nutty. I would think that when you are already dealing with such an unpredictable element as the weather and what a storm might do, and then on top of it, you're going to predict another unstable element like running wild horses or something, you're really doing yourself a disservice. And so this person was able to get some really great shots with the animal. And I think that those are the strongest shots in the portfolio. But once again, we have to look at the portfolio as a whole. And image number 9, in my opinion, might be hurting this portfolio a bit. Although, of course, this was a great moment. Sometimes you have to be harsh with yourself and say, this may not match the rest of what I have in my portfolio in terms of quality that I'm able to make. And I think people should think about that, because it can hurt you in such a way that we as judges have to make a decision about the overall portfolio. And an image like that might be very distracting. I would suggest perhaps replacing this image with another image to perhaps avoid that. Even though I know it's really cool. I know it's really in there too. It's a cool shot. But I think if that shot, like say that this portfolio was just 9 images and it didn't have that particular image, I feel that the strength would go up immensely for me.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Yeah. No, you might be, I think you might be right about that. Dennis, what about you?
For me, the horse pictures are my favorites too. And I do like the black and white ones.
Yeah.
But as Linda said, I don't think they fit like number 9 into the portfolio. If I ignore number 2, 9, and 10, the portfolio would be a bit more balanced. You have warm tones, cooler tones, and it would be a bit more
balanced.
Balanced. And I don't know, it's a German thing. So I don't have the translation for this right now. As the pictures by itself for number 10, I think this is a strong image too. But not in this set. It don't fit in it. But overall, great images.
I do agree with you guys, I think, on all that stuff. But I will say I do like the variety, that there's just a lot of different things. There's the animal shots, and then there's black and white, and there's different. So I do like it. It's not just kind of all the same. And so that part's really nice. But I agree with you guys on that. All right, we'll go to the next one here. And this person obviously had a wonderful, wonderful year. One that I wish I was at a couple places probably. Lots of fun variety here. Even a lightning strike behind this famous road at Monument Valley, which I have to believe is very, very difficult to get. And the light trail is actually, I kind of dig that, even if, I don't know, it just adds a little bit of color. Maybe it'd be better if it was just the road, but that's not easy to get. I really like this shot. This was one of my favorites, I think. I mean, there's a lot in here that I like, but for some reason, it feels just like a very minimalistic tornado shot with this sprinkler in the way, and nice leading lines with the field, which are not always easy to do on the fly when you got a tornado and it's going crazy. And obviously it looks like they're pretty close. So this is one of my favorites. Anyone else have a favorite in this?
Yeah, 9, I think.
9. Ooh, yeah. There's a lot of feel to this one, emotion that you can like feel like you're getting like sucked up into that storm. You can, and even in the foreground, you can see dust like racing around on the ground, so you can just like, it adds to it. This one is the tornado's not touching the ground, but wonderful. I mean, standing on the road, getting something in the foreground, beautiful structure. Seems nicely edited, maybe a little saturated, but there's wonderful shots. So,
yeah.
Dennis, what about you?
For me, it's definitely number 3, the favorite shot of the set. Yeah, as you said, I like the minimalistic style of it, and I don't know why, but it seems to me like a bit like a vintage shot. So
yes,
yeah, but that's for me one of the strongest shots in the set. But overall, this person had a very great year.
Yeah.
And I think the Grand Canyon shot with the lightning we talked about earlier.
Yep.
This one is also very, very great.
Yeah.
I like it very much. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was cool. This one's nice just to have something different in there with a person.
Yeah.
Add some perspective, I guess, what you're looking at. I really did. I don't know if the editing on this one, how it is, but I really think this is a pretty spectacular shot just because you've got, these buildings and this landspout is just, it's a beautiful landspout. They're not always easy to catch and photograph like that. So there's just something about, I remember seeing this posted last year and I was like, wow, they look like there may be some issues looks like some haloing with the editing and maybe it's a little harsh, but spectacular capture, not one that you kind of have to be in the lucky in the right place at the right time for that and paying attention. The one thing about this portfolio, at least for me, and Dave, I'll see what you think too, but the variety of shots is pretty amazing. Dave, do you have any thoughts too?
Yeah, going back to number 3, since everyone else has touched on it, it's amazing that normally you see something right in the middle of the frame, and it's just slightly a turnoff, and this one it just no pun intended, it just sucks you right in. It just draws you right to the center. I love the Grand Canyon shot we talked about earlier, where the lightning is making it look like there's sunlight in the middle of the canyon. But yeah, so much work goes into all of these images, and the fact that one person captured all of them is amazing. That I'm all obviously partial to the ones with the buildings in them. I love that zigzag bolt that you have there, number 8. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a really strong downpour here too, which I always dig that kind of stuff. But I can just tell from this that the person worked hard, this year to get tornado shot after tornado shot, and then even hitting Arizona up at some point. So great variety and great, looks like a great, amazing season. So we'll move on to this one. Linda, you got any thoughts?
Well, first of all, insane places where you were. Like in number 3, I almost it's like an inverted mushroom cap situation on the ground. Like,
yeah,
I can't imagine. It's pretty tense situations. So in terms of just the overall images and stuff that are in the portfolio, it's quite nice to see the differences. Some of the edits, like in this particular image, are quite nice. Some of the other ones, I think this person's still a bit experimenting with where they might like their images to go. And I would reiterate that this is something to think about when you're composing a set of images together into a portfolio to bring some cohesiveness in the editing. Doesn't have to mean the same colors or anything, but it should have a.
No, I agree with you, big time, because this person obviously had an amazing year.
Absolutely.
I love this shot. There's a bunch of stuff in the foreground here. Maybe the person in me would have gotten rid of it, but I also think it could also look like tornado debris or something and maybe it was, and it adds to the shot. But this is just beautiful. You can see just debris flying in the air. Mm-hmm. That's a great shot. But then if you go to this one, like you point out, the editing is really nice. It's very, very solid, not over edited. And, but then, this shot feels like maybe it was almost from a different person. because of the way it was edited. And I'll just say that I know that I was on this same storm in a different spot, but I have this lightning strike. It was a storm and a day that it was pretty hazy. And to make anything really pop, you had to do something. And so that's one of the ones where you have to decide how much is too much. And this is definitely probably, like, as you said, Linda, maybe it kind of hurts the portfolio because of the rest are very nicely edited for the most part. You know, this one has there's some color stuff going on here, but maybe that's what it looked like.
That first image in the portfolio too, I feel is similarly a bit over edited.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's happening there.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on with it either. I don't know if the raw file would reveal anything, because it feels like some of this stuff looks like it's the result of maybe there were just power lines or something going across, and then they tried to get rid of it, or perhaps it looked like that, but it feels either over sharpened or clarity or something. And it's weird because I feel like this part of the image doesn't look like that. Like the trees and the windmills seem to look fine, but it's just like unbelievable though. I mean, you got a rainbow and a tornado, so that's nice.
Yeah, but we have to have both amazing images and also amazing editing to match it, and then on top of that, picking together a set of images that would go together well.
Yeah,
so it's quite tricky, but what amazing shots! Really.
Yeah, and it's funny you pointed this one out. At least for me, I don't know about how Dennis or Dave feel, but this one, I really like this one. I think it was just a land spout, possibly, maybe in Colorado or something. But you can actually see there's a dirt road coming down here, which definitely adds to the scale. But there's just this is one was like, wow, the editing is so great. It feels nice and soft and perfect and feels so real. The cloud here is just wonderful, and there's just debris in the air. I really, really liked that one, and this one I think are almost my favorite images, in the set.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis, what about you?
Yeah,
or Dave.
Number 3 is absolutely great. I like how much detail you can see in the cloud.
Yeah,
and this is great, and it's so big and so far away, and at the same time, but it seems to be right in front of you.
Yes.
So this is great. And the next one, the previous number 4. In a certain way, I like this one because of the bluish tones at the top and the swirling dust around it. I don't know. I like the lighting in this one. Yeah, absolutely. But the one point you mentioned it before is the different editing style. In this set, that's unfortunately not that good, I think, because the potential to edit the pictures in a very, very great way is there. Maybe, like you said, there was a bit of finding the way or so over the year or so, but in some pictures, it's like the way it should be. So number 8 and 6. So it's a bit over the top. So but over and all, what a great ride this was the last year. Wow, I would, if I could see such a set in 5 years, I would be happy.
All right, we'll go to the next one. Dave, I'll let you start us off on this one if you want, if you're able to do so.
Could we just jump back to the last one real quick?
Sorry. Oh yeah, sure. No.
Number I love number 2. I'm such a sucker for long empty roads. I almost wish this one was in color and being on the middle of the road. That kind of irked me a little bit, but there's nothing that I love more than just being able to look at a picture and just be completely drawn into it. So I absolutely love that one. I just want to make sure I pointed that out.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I know, I remember the middle of the road thing you brought up as something we discussed last year in our critiques, that if you're going to shoot in the middle of the road, just take that little extra few seconds to line up at least right in the middle. so that it doesn't feel like off balance. I mean, it's not like it's bad or anything. It's just like if you're going to do it, just try to get it right down the middle. At least that's, kind of how I felt about it. I think we were talking about that last year.
Yeah, it makes such a difference. But I mean, overall, yeah, I absolutely love all the work, obviously.
All right. So, Dave, what about this one? This is our next photographer. A lot of vertical shots, which is different than what we're used to, or we kind of seen, but they've obviously had a good year too.
Yeah, I noticed that whenever we were looking through these, and you're so used to seeing storms in either wide angles or panoramas. I really liked seeing the vertical views because it made me appreciate the tower and structure a lot of these, especially I think it was number 10, the last one with the with that tall, like seeing.
Yeah,
I think a wide angle view of this would have been. Would have been great, but it just really takes all the focus on, puts all the focus on the bolt, and having the little trees underneath really had a sense of scale. And so that was probably my favorite shot in the set. That's 1 in 10.
1 in 10, yeah. I like 1 a lot. Linda, what about you?
I'm quite drawn to number 3 personally. I think compositionally this is really nice. Overall, the whole set feels a little on the dark side, but I think in edit it can be easily achieved. I like a bit darker, moodier edits. Not everything has to be bright, in my opinion, but I think some of the images could be balanced a little better. But as to what Dave was saying, I like seeing some of these in the vertical format. It kind of goes back to cropping, what you want people to focus on in the shot, and so I think that's done very nicely in this portfolio by cropping it in a bit different way than what we've seen up to this point. I think number 8, they must have shot that around the same time or day as the one we saw earlier. I prefer this edit a little bit better over the other one. I think because it looks a bit farther down into the canyon, so it's a little bit nicer.
And the light on the edge here is really nice.
Yeah,
it captures that really well.
I mean, some of the editing in different images I think can be tweaked a little bit, but isn't that true for all of us? Just being able to get all these shots, I don't,
Yeah, I know.
Great.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of I probably like 2 a lot because of this little oil well in the middle, and I love this bluish green hail kind of up there in the lightning strike. That's kind of nice. I might have pulled the crop in a little bit more.
I'm just not a favorite of the edit. That seems very crunchy there.
Yeah, it's very sharpened. It's sharpened maybe too much, or clarity a little too much. Some of these are like tough because this one feels a little like it's slanted, but I think it's these lines that are coming.
Yeah.
And I love this one a lot, but it's almost the same as if it was wide, that I feel like there's too much foreground. And so crop it anymore, and then you lose the edges unless you go to like a 1-to-1 kind of ratio. So I feel like this
has been better as a wider crop because both of the elements of interest are essentially on the edges of the frame. It leads me to feel like there's not enough breathing room to the side.
Yes. Yeah. It feels very constricted. That's a very good way to describe it. And I do like that there's this style of like kind of strong vignette. I mean, they all kind of have that same style. So obviously this photographer really likes that. But I think at times it can be just a little too dark, and that there's detail there that I want to see. But that's it's a style choice. And this one is a nice image, but man, it's just it's super super dark and kind of these edges, and I think we're missing a little bit. I think you can make it dark without making it pitch black kind of dark, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, we will go to the next one. Dennis, what do you think of this one?
This one, yes, I remember. I really like number 1.
Yeah.
Because it's like 2 images in one or so. It's the best weather on the right, and the Haboob is coming in from the left. So it's I think I like the simple style in it. So but seems to be a great year here too. Very, very much very different images here. This one, yeah, unfortunately, a bit blown out highlights.
Yeah, and maybe some editing issues.
Yeah, a bit
is,
too much contrast and some. Yeah,
I like this one. The color, I don't know if it's. This one looks like maybe the best edited of them, but I think the color on the road and the grass and everything is real nice, and they worked hard at getting a good composition here. I think the only thing to me that I feel like might hurt it is that all these last three are all obviously from the same storm, so it kind of maybe hurts the variety just a little bit. And some of these just feel like this is the one we did talk about. I mean, I like this one a lot. A little bit more motion probably than I would have wished, but and this is one of the other ones where maybe we wish we, maybe less foreground and less you got low, and tried to make it more part of it. But yeah, I mean, decent year, good year, and maybe some editing issues. This one might be just a tad too purple.
Yeah.
But man, this lightning was awesome. All right, we will go on to the next one. Linda, what do you think of this one?
Overall, great set of images. I like that roped out guy, number 7.
Yeah.
Again, some of the editing I think isn't really cohesive throughout this portfolio. I think some of these maybe they have similar editing, but maybe some are more cropped in than others. It feels like. But can I see the whole portfolio again for a moment?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think number 5 again. I think we saw this in just the portfolio we just looked at. I like this crop a little bit better, and you can see here that even though this is still pretty dark and moody, it's not quite as dark as the other one.
Yeah,
I'm a bit more drawn towards this image in this portfolio than I was that other image.
Yep.
I think just number like 9 with the silos is, yeah, it doesn't really do too much for me in terms of like if I have to find the weak link in the chain. I would say that this one maybe doesn't help the portfolio as much as some of the other ones.
Yeah,
but
agree. I think this one might be my favorite shot in there, just because I like the editing and it looks like it's a panorama, and I like the green in the field in the road. It feels like a softer image, some nice colors.
Yeah.
Overall, the editing on that one feels good. And this one's pretty nice too. The power lines kind of stink. They're a little bit closer. I don't know that they're really helping much in this one, but I think the editing is pretty nice. It kind of goes back to the one we saw earlier.
Yeah.
And these colors feel just a little bit softer. And obviously they're at a different angle, but yeah, overall, I think I probably would agree with you, about the tornado with the silos. There's something about it that maybe there's too much in the foreground with the power lines, and this, junk over here kind of kills it just a little bit, but a nice year. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I love the colors in number 2. I think number 8 is probably my favorite. I wish they would do a 16:9 crop on that though.
Yeah.
I think that would really take that image up, because there's really nothing happening in the top of the sky there. But yeah, I mean, overall, just such a great combination. I actually don't mind the tornado shot, number 9. I think those two balance each other out, and so that's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Cool. All right, 3 more to go. Dennis, what do you think of this one? I'm curious.
Number 8 draws my attention in the first place. Yeah, that's great. In a way, I like the colors here, which I don't like so much is that one black and white is in there, because it doesn't seem to fit right in the set. But the image itself, I like it very much. But thank you. I think number 3 could be a strong image on this one. Yeah, that's it. We saw an image of this one, of this tornado earlier, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and here I like it better because you have the whole structure on top of the frame. Maybe in this one, the bushes directly in the foreground are a bit off. So, but overall, maybe some post issues here and there, and some white balance stuff. But overall, I like the set. Number 9 is kind of nice, the double rainbow.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because there's a certain kind of style to these. Like, this is not just, color, but there's some kind of like a filmy style applied to it, almost like a preset, like you would be using on editing like a portfolio or like a portrait shot. So I kind of like that they just had their own style and they kind of just went with it on everything. I like this one a lot. I would maybe have cropped it enough so I didn't get this off the edge. I really always usually have a problem with things that are on the edge of the frame that aren't complete. And I think I would have either just photoshopped that out entirely or crop it up. But I do like the color choice in here. It's just a little bit different than what we see. Like, it's got that little filmy, vintagey, like maybe cinematic kind of style to it. So that one's not too bad. And I do like for whatever reason, I like the color and stuff in that one. Yeah. And maybe this one too, a little bright at the top, but I agree on this black and white one. I feel like it's not even all the way black and white. There's a little bit of like blue. I feel like some kind of very faint, almost like it was like a blue sepia kind of thing where it's just very, 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 very slight. But I think maybe some harsh editing as well for a lot of the clouds. Everything feels just a little bit like clarity and sharp. But I like, the variety of what they entered is nice. I mean, we've got mountains and we got lightning, we got rainbows, we've got, land spouts, tornadoes, and kind of sunset colors. And so the variety is nice. And I feel like they actually all really go well together as like a set, which Linda's been talking about a lot. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they almost have that like VSCO editing style, that kind of that matte look to them, which I love for portrait shots. And for images like this, I just would expect them to be, a lot more vibrant. And they're like 8's obviously very colorful, but they lack those deep blacks that I think can really make an image pop. I love the lighting in that one with the double rainbow, but it just is kind of like those shadows could be a little bit darker to really make it pop. But I mean, in terms of cohesiveness, they all go together. They all have that similar look. Again, I love that one with the center lightning strike. I just wish that they kind of popped a little bit more. They had some more of that depth. So, photographic speaking, I love them. Editing wise, I think it could be a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, this one and I don't know for sure, and I think I saw this in some other images. I see this little dip, which could be that Rokinon 14mm lens that has that mustache effect. I don't know for sure, but it looks like it kind of goes and dips down and dips back up. And sometimes on those wide angles, you got to fix that on your lens profile. All right, we'll go to this one. Linda, what do you think of this one?
I think cohesive wise, I can tell just even without looking at the images a bit closer, is that the editing matches pretty well across this entire portfolio. So in terms of that, this is all pretty cohesive. Can really tell that this photographer has kind of a style, that they've kind of stuck to that throughout the portfolio. So it makes it nice and cohesive. Of course, some of these individual shots and of themselves are really great. I always like it when, for example, the shot with the trees, it tells a story. It's more than just showing the storm. It's showing the landscape in the storm. It's showing, part of the rest of nature. That's part of it. And I think it's kind of neat. It's like a portrait of a tree, but it's got this amazing storm. And even this minimalistic photo here, I think it also has this sense of calmness, even though I can know very well how chaotic this moment could be. But overall, the editing is a nice across this portfolio. I think the thing that this person probably is working on or could work on is just to try to get better compositions going forward of these photos. And they've already gone a long way there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but overall, I really like this portfolio. You can tell this person spent a lot of time working on this. So I like it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I can't even explain what it is, but I feel like to me, like all of them, this might be the best editing on anything that was submitted. I would love to even know and maybe how they did it, because there's something like about this image where the train and all the stuff feels really soft, but also really sharp at the same time, but not over sharp, like it's been contrasty or clarity. And that's what a lot of them feel like. And I like this one too, because I don't know, when the sun's about to go down and the trees catch that last bit of light, there's something magical about it, and you can really, really feel it here. And it's not always easy to capture trees with light on them like that and make them look amazing. And you even mentioned this image too. This is like, it's wonderful, and it's all it is just a rain. I mean, it's very stormy sky. But normally I would maybe not even take a photo of this, and yet this person did, and it's beautifully edited, and I love it. And now I wish I, would take more like that. And this is just another beautiful panorama. It's really great. In composition wise, I feel like this person like had a great year for that. This focusing on this and getting a lightning strike. This is obviously just a really cool, lightning bolt in town. It looks like you can actually see where that one lands, but the editing, I think, is what is almost makes up for anything that's like, maybe a weaker image. This is I don't know why, but it's like one of my favorite ones, because the it looks like it's in white sands or something, but that bolt just lights up the sand, and it just feels very like surreal, almost like you were standing there under moonlight or something, but it's a lightning bolt, lighting it up. And it's just really nicely done. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, three is one of my favorite. 3 and 4, but I love 3. The light on the trees just makes it. If any of these images that we've looked at over the course of today looks like a painting, it's this one.
Yeah.
You told me that was a painting, I would have believed you. There's no doubt. And sometimes the best images are simple, and that's what number 4 is. Like you said, I don't think I ever would have thought to take a picture like something like that. But there's just enough light catching the edge of the clouds that really kind of makes it pop.
Yeah.
Do you know, was number 10 in White Sands? Because I was curious. I was curious where that was. I thought it was a beach at first, but
I have a feeling it's.
Looked at it.
I would think it's. I don't know for sure. I mean, obviously, it could have been any kind of dunes, but I have a feeling it's White Sands, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that again. I mean, the way the lightning just crawls up the sky is really special.
Dennis, what about you?
For me, it's one of the best editings what we have seen till now, and it's, you don't need to, for a good strong shot, the biggest supercell and stuff and a tornado or so. And I think this set proves it. Okay, we have supercells here too, but the strongest shots are not supercells in this one. For me. For me, it's number 4 is my favorite. The lighting here is, I don't know, it's fits perfect for this scene.
Yeah,
and the editing overall, you can see every image comes from one hand. And that's the point. It's a great collection of the last year.
And one of the ones which Linda kind of brought up earlier about how, well, this image really kind of just tracks from it because it doesn't fit. Like everything in here just totally fits together, in my opinion. Maybe this city lightning bolt, it doesn't because as much because it's in the city and it's a little different, but in terms of like the editing style, they all fit really, really well together. So
yeah, great job.
All right, we'll go to our last one. This is I can just tell that this person is probably from Arizona because I see a haboob and I see Grand Canyon shots and a lot more. Well, this one looks like the Colorado storm that I was on. But I think, to what Dennis said just a second ago about you don't necessarily need supercells and tornadoes to have, a nice portfolio. This person was able to, do the best they could with a dust storm here and a road and a farm, and how make a just downburst look really pretty by composing a great shot with up. This looks like the maybe Vermilion Cliffs or something up northern Arizona. Downbursts, I love downbursts. So you don't necessarily have to have supercells or tornadoes for great shots. This lightning bolt is wonderful. Great light on this. Maybe the editing's a little bit tough right up here, a little bit bright. But I do really like this work. And obviously this person also got the most captured Grand Canyon bolt of all time, apparently, it seems like. but this is from a different perspective and vertical, and I kind of dig that too. And I actually really like this shot because of the saguaro down here. I think I wish it was maybe pulled down a smidge because I feel like I'm missing this, but then I see the tips of others. So maybe nothing you would have done would have helped, but I do like there's a subtle light on the saguaro probably at the end of the day. But yeah, so these are really nice shots. Linda, what do you think? Since you're from Arizona, it looks like it's a lot of Arizona stuff.
Yeah. Overall, I like this portfolio doesn't, to me, have the amount of variety that some of the other portfolios have shown.
Yep.
And I do feel that the editing here is not really dialed in very well. Maybe some color issues, but perhaps try a less global edit. But I do know that I know the landscape here pretty well. This is probably my favorite shot with the Vermilion Cliffs. That's in the portfolio. But even here, the color feels a little cool to me still. I don't know what it is, of course, but I think that the editing could use a little bit of tweaking, and I would just like to see a little bit more variety like we've seen in some of the other portfolios. But overall, none of these shots individually are bad shots at all. They're all very nice shots. Maybe tweak the editing a little bit. That's where I am with it.
Yep. Dennis, what about you?
Yeah, I totally agree here. The variety is not so great like in the other sets, but I do like number 3 very much. And okay, the most photographed lightning strike of Grand Canyon. but I do appreciate because it's a vertical. Yep, I like the crop here very much. It's great. Maybe here and there some little post issues, and here and there maybe a bit of framing issues, but every image for itself is great. Also, number 4, this downburst it's a very powerful image here.
I think I know what Linda was saying, what you guys are saying about maybe some of the editing and the style. I do think one of the aspects that I like is they technically seem really nicely done, like for the most part, like the sharpness and quality is technically good. And when you're shooting a lot of lightning and things like that out there, especially in Arizona, there's a lot of shots that come in where the lightning is out of focus and not in the back, just technically not as good. And I think at least technically all these photos are really nice. They're really sharp, and they're doing as best job as they can on compositions in tough areas. But yeah, the editing, I mean, if you look at the portfolio kind of as a whole, it does feel like it's kind of, I don't know how to say it, like bright bluish, like maybe too much saturation. If you kind of look at it as a whole, but maybe some more learning on the editing and advancing on that. This image right here, this feels just really bright, and it probably was like that. But you have to figure out how to expose for that, and then try to keep that down just a little bit. Dave, what about you?
I love the light in number 6. I mean,
like the light is good for sure.
Yeah, the anti-crepuscular rays are so cool. But yeah, I mean, they all go together. But I tend to lean more towards the warmer tones in terms of how much I appreciate the warmer tones and with images like this. So they do all go together. That one I love. You know, the big open road leading right to, you know, it's kind of got that panoramic crop, which is really nice. But yeah, I mean, obviously some amazing lightning strikes. 10 is awesome, and the you know, the Grand Canyon bolt. I really like that angle of the bolt.
On this one.
Yeah, on that one. I mean, if the bolt had been a little bit closer to the camera, I think that would probably been my favorite image that we've probably looked at.
Yeah.
You know, the way the river is winding right through, but just a really different look than the other ones we've seen.
Yeah, I agree actually with this one. I like, I like that it's like kind of dark and they didn't try to bring up the shadows too much.
Exactly.
And I actually like this silhouette framing the right side. And actually because it's more centered, you actually see more of this plateau with the light illuminating that, with the bolt illuminating that. And yeah, I do think I kind of like this this crop and angle a lot better than, you know, maybe some of the other ones we saw.
Now I can see why you said that one was, because the other ones almost looked like it was daytime, and this one looks like it's much darker than the other ones, which really illuminating the rain coming down as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all right. I think we're done. We did photographer of the year. So hopefully we won't have too tough a decision, but we're gonna have to go through and vote on all these again. So all right. Well, thank you guys, and that was good.